My guest today is a guy from Canada and is recently back in TrackMania and joining an organization called Reflex. So I thought, why not speak to Wally about what is up with him? Is he really seriously back or is he just joining for fun now? But first and foremost, welcome Wally. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm great. What about you? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here, and I congratulated you yesterday on Facebook, but now I have you in person. Congratulations with your birthday yesterday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm 24 years old. I feel pretty old, but I'm doing great.
Hey, you're 1 year younger than me, so you're the young one here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But let's get into the most important topic here, maybe, and the reason why you are in sort of the news. Recently, you joined Reflex. Why did you join that team?
Well, as you might know, I did the TMGL one-spot qualification, and right after that, they contacted me via Discord, and they asked me to join them. And when a team asked me to join them, I'm not looking for something too serious, since I'm pretty much anyone know that I'm not as much active as I was once. But yeah, they're not forcing me to play anything except for ZrT, which I want to try hard. It would be really cool to live that experience again. And yeah, I'm mainly joining for fun and playing a couple of matches here and there, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, when you spoke about like you maybe take the game less serious these days, I was thinking once I get Wally on the podcast, it's probably going to be about why he's not playing anymore, why he has stepped down. But now you're back. Is it somewhat,
Yeah.
have you some new motivations or is it still the same? How do you compare, let's say, motivation this year compared to last year, year before?
Let's say at the moment I'm in school, but like really partially, so I don't have a lot of course and exams. So I have more time working a bit in between those, but I have more time to play TrackMania, and I always liked it, so why not?
And let's talk a little bit about the TrackMania Grand League Open qualifier. You signed up. Many people mention you as maybe one of the biggest favorite. The environment suits you, multiple styles, endurance. What did you think about going into that Open qualifier?
Well, for sure, it was a bit of a deception, but it's mainly my fault. I didn't try hard enough. Maybe for the week before the tournament, well, the qualification, I played around 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours maybe, I don't know. It was really light training and it didn't pay off, but I'm glad I could try it, and it was mainly for fun, but it was kind of a test to see how I am right now.
Yeah, and what did you get back from that test? Do you like what you are at the moment? Do you like the TrackMania Grand League? What was the feeling you got?
I really like the maps, and I think I lost a bit of it, like of my skills, but it's mainly muscle memory, and anyone can get back to it. So I played TMNF a lot, and I did some great times there. So I know I'm still in shape. But
if you then look ahead, because this is a beta season for TrackMania Grand League, probably be a season 1, probably a new qualifiers. Then are you gonna attend then, or are you gonna see what sort of live situation, how much motivation you have? What is the plan there?
Well, it always depends on life situation, like you mentioned. But if I can do it, of course I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to beat Carl, even if it's not something easy sometimes. Every time there's a North American qualification, I pretty know that it will be hard to get over it.
Yeah. Yeah, are you then in favor of, because some people mention that the qualifications should not be regional, it should be open qualifiers so everybody has the same opportunities. Would you be in favor of having some sort of open qualifiers instead of country-based?
Yeah, of course. I'm like, I think it sounds like the fair thing to do. Like, why a country should have more spots than another one? Like, what are we basing our opinion on? I don't really know, but an open qualifier sounds really good in my opinion.
How much have you followed as a spectator the TrackMania Grand League? Is it a tournament that you can sit back and enjoy, or was it just now you had a chance of qualifying and then you went for it? or have you followed the
Well,
event?
well, every time I get the chance to watch it, I do. It's really a nice show, and the players are really impressing me. Some new faces there. I know Rollin is impressing me a lot. I didn't think he could drive that consistently, but yeah, really like it.
And how would you compare it to, let's say, the normal tech event? Some people are sort of confused by this and why we have this sort of shifting point. But you, what
Well,
do you think about it?
it's been about like more than 10 years that tech exists, and I think this format brings something different to the scene, and I think it's better. It just give to the community something new, and spice things up, and I think it makes a great show, and the maps are pretty unique and risky parts and stuff. I really like it.
And do you have any favorites? Maybe your countryman Carl, or who do you see winning the beta season?
Yeah, of course, Carl is my favorite, but Pack is looking really good right now.
Yeah,
Brian is also impressive. Yeah, but Carl I think he's gonna win it.
Let's go back to the starting point in your career and how you got into TrackMania. Do you know what sort of your first impression was and how you even got into this game?
I remember it was a friend of mine back in 6th grade when I was like 11 something. He showed me the game on his PC, and my PC couldn't really run it, so I had to go at his place to play it every time. It was a TMN ESWC. So yeah, I really fell in love with the game right there, and it didn't took long for me to beat my friend and be better than him, because I was putting the hours, man. It was really fun. I think I passed a couple of summer on there on the computer playing TrackMania.
Do you remember what sort of maps you played in your earlier days? Was it Nadeo maps? Was it LoL maps? What kind of maps did you play?
I think it was very short map, and of course Nadeo. I was always trying the solo camping for fun, but nothing competitive on ESWC. But when TMNF started, that's where I started to join organizations and grow as a better player.
Yeah, how did that go? How did you go from being some sort of average player playing on servers, having fun on servers, to be okay, I want to be better, I want to compete against players?
Well, as you might know, I'm part of a province called Quebec in Canada. It's the only French-speaking province in the country, and we had a small community in Quebec. So I started to talk with them and hang out on voice chat and stuff. I had a really good time, but I knew that if I wanted to be better, I need to open up my horizons and just look on other server and see what's going on. And so I joined the French team. I think it was called Vodka. Yeah, Vodka. They were really nice guys, and they were playing ESL. And back in the days, there were leagues in ESL.
Yeah.
And we started in 3rd league or 4th league, and that's where I started my professional career, I'd say.
And how did you enjoy playing maybe your first team matches? Was it nervous? Was it just fun? How was it?
It was a mix of the two. It was really, I was having a blast. Like, I was finishing school and I had to run from my bus stop to my house because my team was waiting for me for the match because of the hour delay.
Yeah, the time difference.
Yeah.
But how long did you stay in that first team, and eventually why did you decide to move on?
Well, of course, I decided to move on because I was always aiming for something higher. And I had some opportunities to go in better teams in terms of skills, and it's just started there. And one day I ended up in RTA, and this was the place that I grew the most. I played with awesome guys and really sick dudes. I had my best matches there, and yeah, that's where I was tryharding at my best.
Yeah, the one of the first team I remember is the RTA, like the blue tag you saw on Daddies, you saw on Madeo maps.
Yeah.
How would you
Yeah.
describe the environment inside that team?
When I joined the team, when I joined the team, it was they just started to play tech because it was only in Adio, and I think that's why there's a little 2 in red after the tag, because it was the meaning of another team for RTA, another beginning, I'd say, like for the tech scene, and that's where I up on it, and I played with Blizz, Voctor, Baron Totter, aka McJoy, the leader of RTA. Yeah, I played with many good guys and was sick.
So already back then, did you have some sort of, I don't know if you, good relationships with the Nadeo maps, or was you in favor of these tech tournaments and tech competitions?
I wasn't really a big Nadeo player. I focused on a couple of the maps, but nothing too big. Like I wasn't like the other guys of RTA who played matches on Nadeo maps just to, with other teams that are mainly Nadeo. But yeah, it's another community, and it's a great one. It's pushing the limits on basic maps, and I think it's really impressive.
Yeah, even until today, and you are one of the guys who push the limits in the old game TrackMania Nations forever. Why do you find motivation to keep hunting and keep grinding these old tracks after all these years?
I don't know. It's like we always want to max the map, and I'm not even sure if there's a max time on, let's say, ESL or Colicious. I don't know what's the limit. I don't think we'll see a 0.6, but this map is like the benchmark of tech. Like, we can see the evolution of the skills. It's crazy. When the map first came out, the world record was 0.20 by a French guy, like for a couple of times, and now it's half a second lower. It's pretty impressive how we came from like 10 years.
So if you have some sort of one track that you want the record on, that will be Hokolicious.
No, I don't say. I won't say that I have a track in particular that I want the record, but I once held the record for a couple of days. But yeah, it was. I was really happy with that. It didn't take long for people to say, "Hey, Wally got the record," so I think I can do as well.
But how long did you stay in R2A before you eventually found another team again?
Well, I stayed in RTA until the moment it died. Just the leader, McJoy, just left because he was having university or something. I want to concentrate his energy on real life, and the team kind of fell apart. And after that, I don't quite remember what. If I joined some team or anything, but I was just playing the game to have fun and play as a guest player for teams. And yeah, of course, I went to ANE at some points with Scotsmen and pretty good players in there. It was a great time.
But if I looked at your Twitter profile, you had some sort of Dignitas jersey on there. Have you been part of that, or was it trial? What is the story here?
Okay, yeah. I once did a trial for Dignitas, but I started to work and going back to school, so I didn't have much time as before. So they decided to just cut my trial, and yeah, they told me, Bergie told me, if you want to give it a more serious try, the door is always open, but never came back. So yeah, the jersey is just Carl Jr. He gave me one. He had too many of them. Yeah.
But is that something
gave me one like a couple of years ago?
Is that something you can look back on and sort of regret that you didn't take the opportunity more serious, or are you fine with it and that's life?
I'm really fine with it. It's not. I'm not having hard feelings over anything in my career of TrackMania. Yeah,
and you mentioned a new era and you joined ANE. I mean, when you joined, it was suddenly one of the top teams. You had yourself, you had Scotty, you had Dutchy, Maddox, Javi Flyer. Why did suddenly everybody come together and join this team?
I don't know. I just knew some really friendly faces in the team, and I knew that they were great players overall. So I'd say, why not play with a good team which I'm having fun with? So yeah, it was a mix of the two, and it was a great parkour with them.
And I think the highlight for a new era in the long TrackMania career is when they had the two players in the grand final of the ZrT Cup. I believe number 4,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, number 4.
Yeah, how was that experience for you, going to France, going to play the ZrT Cup? How was it?
In one sentence, it was the best experience of my life. Playing in front of 2.5k people was really something that I think I'll never get used to. But it was the crowd was crazy French people, super hyped. ZrT was like, I'm forever grateful for ZrT for giving me this chance. Let's say that when I qualified for the semifinals, so I was eligible to go to Paris, and it was the moment I qualified, it was the best realization of my life. I was like, oh, I'm going to play in front of thousands of people with the live stream, and it was crazy.
Yeah, because you had success in the earlier editions of the ZrT Cup, but had you expected anything to how it would be to play in front of such a big crowd, or was it like, okay, I have no idea what is going on, I'm just gonna take it as it comes?
I didn't know really what to expect there, but the moment I stand foot on the stage, I was with the other 8 finalists. Like Ray Sans was there, and his reaction was the same as mine. We just looked at all the seats and stuff, and the lights, and we went like the jaw-dropping moment. It was okay, and now my heart is starting to beat fast right now. It's getting pretty hyped, and it was. I was having a really good time on stage.
Yeah, but how are you actually able to then keep your head cool, make it into the grand final? Because it's such a new environment, it's such a rare experience, but you still are able to perform.
Let's say that I don't really know how I made it. I didn't have sound. My car sound wasn't working, so I only had the headphones that got the sound of the crowd. So yeah, it was. And I'm always playing with sounds, and the ZrT maps got some pretty tricky parts with gear up and gear down, and I didn't have the sound, so I just went with it and I did it. So really happy about this.
Yeah, and you played in one of the more crazy grand finals, I believe, at least for the ZrT Cup. It's maybe even the best final. How was it to play in that grand final? Did you at some point think that you could win it?
I rewatched it a couple of days ago, actually, and I was against some really heavy players. I had a good start of the match, if I remember correctly, but they just started catching up, and even though I was playing consistent, they were too fast, and at some points I knew it was finished, but I just kept going and had fun.
And you say that this is maybe your best experience in your life, at least in TrackMania. Is that the reason why you have this sort of feeling that you wanna try it again, wanna sort of no-life it, to get back to France, to get back in front of that audience and get the experience?
Yeah, of course, because TrackMania is quite something. It's a big part of my life. Every time I tell somebody that I did some competition overseas for a video game, they're not really believing it until I show it to them. And when I show it to them, they're really impressed, and like they can't believe they have like the second best Canadian player in front of them. Like I can't really. It's a great feeling. It's a great part of my life that I'm really proud of. So yeah, when I play the game, I feel good. I feel it at my place.
But will you try harder this year compared to 2017, 2018, when you didn't go to France and to play?
Yeah, I'm gonna try harder for sure. Let's say that last year I had a lack of motivation for the game. I think we all have at some point, but yeah, it was at that moment that I just decided to take a break, hang out a bit, and it didn't hurt. It was I had a good time far from the game.
If you are to describe what ZrT is doing for the community, I would personally say that maybe he is the main reason for the game moving upwards, moving to get more attention. How would you describe the influence ZrT has had in TrackMania?
Well, it's really, like I said earlier, I'm forever grateful for him. He just took his big community and spotlighted it on TrackMania, and they really like the game. So that's what happens. Like, the game is not really popular, at least in North America. It's really not popular, but he showed it to his Tribune. I don't know if I can say this in English, but yeah, his work is formidable, and we need more people like him to give us more views and more recognition.
But this is not the only time you have been in France. If I recall correctly, you have played at ESWC. How do you compare that experience to the experience of playing this ZrT Cup?
Well, of course, the maps are really different. It was ESWC, I think I did 2014 and 15. I'm not sure. It was against top players. I don't know. It's a different process of training these kind of maps than the maps on of ZrT, for example. It's big tryhard, big no lifing at 2, 3, 4 hours a day, playing with guys, playing practice matches. So we know what we are going to do during the competition, but in the ZrT Cup, anything can happen. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. So yeah, it's different, but I think I like them both.
Yeah, but you're not in favor of now, if there are a world championship in tech again, you're not gonna try hard for that, or what?
The main reason I'm not participating in these kind of lands is I don't have no team want to sponsor a guy from Canada to fly to Europe for $1,000, and I don't have the kind of money to do it. I could do it, but I want to save and put some money apart. So I'm having fun online at the moment, so I'm not looking forward to pay a good amount of money to go at a tournament that I'm not even sure I'm going to get a prize money for. So
I'm not sure if you can tell, but if you are qualifying to ZrT Cup, is it ZrT that pays, or is it Reflex?
Yeah.
How would you sponsor that?
Yeah, like the last time I went to the ZrT Cup, it was all ZrT, the flight and the hotel. I had my own expenses to cover, so it was all right. But yeah, since I didn't sign any contract with Reflex, I'm just with them for, you know, the name and having some kind
marketing,
of yeah, exactly. So I don't think they're gonna sponsor my flight, and that's all right with them. I'm all right with that.
You mentioned Carl Jr., and it's hard to talk about you without Carl Jr. You are sort of the Canadian duo, number 1 and number 2 from Canada. How would you say that he has he somewhat motivated you because there is another top player for Canada, or what is the sort of relationship there?
All right. Like, remember when I told you about the small Quebec community that we were playing online?
Yeah.
Well, he was part of it, and his name was Speed. Okay.
Speed.
Yeah, it was Carl's name on the game before. Speed. And he was playing all kinds of maps, full speed, speed tech, anything, and nobody really knew him, but he was always on the top times. And so one day I just voice chatted with him, and yeah, he was a kid and I was too. So it's going far back, me and Carl.
When I had him on a podcast, he said that he was maybe a toxic kid back in those days. How would you describe it? Was it you also a toxic kid, and that's why you liked each other, or what?
No, I don't think I was a toxic kid. He was quite cocky, but he was always nice with me, and we had fun. And yeah, maybe he was toxic. Maybe I was too, but we were kids, so.
But I would call him by far the greatest of all time, at least when it comes to competitions. How would you name him, and if so, who can compete with him at that sort of greatest of all time list?
Currently, I'd say Pac is his biggest rival. Kappa is showing some really sick performances the last years, but yeah, Carl is definitely he can handle himself during high pressure moments more than pretty much anyone else. So big respect to him, and he just have raw talent for the game.
Yeah,
and I think he showed it. So.
But do you think that's what separates the best and the next best? Like, they have the extra talent. It's not the amount of training. They just have something special, like a talent.
I think how can I say, like, I'm renowned for being a fast learner in TrackMania, and every time I play a new map with Carl, often I have the best times at the first 5-10 minutes. But the moment he keeps training and playing it, he's just going a level above me every time. So it never bothered me. I always was happy for him for all he did. It's all deserved.
Yeah, and you are some sort of fast learner. You are also, if I recall correctly, you are pretty good at endurance cups, like 24 hours races. Do you have any favorite cups in TrackMania that you sort of want to see back or want to get more attention? As a player, what is the favorite cup for you?
My favorite cup was definitely the Frostbules weekly race and the Spams weekly, but I didn't have the chance to play them. But yeah, these kinds of map was the kind of format was really interesting for me.
You won this,
yeah,
the FBS weekly, right?
I think I finished second on one season. It was really good prize money.
Yeah, 1,000 euros, I believe.
Yeah, and I missed first place because, well, we're not 100% sure, but a lot of people got disconnections, and I think I got DDoS during the race, and if I was maintaining the rhythm I had, I would have finished first in the season. But yeah, when I disconnected, which never happened to me before on this kind of setup at my place. I was really pissed. I was so mad.
Yeah, how is it to put effort, time into it, and then know that, okay, there's probably some guy who is just want to fuck things over for me and want to ruin things for me?
It's the worst feeling, and I don't understand these kind of people. I don't see what they're gaining from it. Like, there's nothing. I hope it doesn't happen too much, but I'm not even sure if it happened, but it was really, really weird. It was suspicious.
Yeah, I believe that's maybe one of the reasons why Frostbull didn't host season 2, because there was no way of making sure who did it. How could he make sure that they were out of the servers and such?
Yeah, it was a big turnoff for everyone.
But are you in favor then of having maybe the world champion being crowned in multiple styles, maybe endurance format instead of tech? Do you think that shows who is the best overall player and maybe a more complete TrackMania player?
Well, yes, I'd say that the format we got here in TMGL looks pretty endurance and, really a lot of diversity in the blocks and the maps. Yeah. So I think it's giving something new to the game and refreshing. And yeah, the people who performs well there deserve the world champion title, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, and talking about maps, it's hard to talk about Wally without bringing up mapping and maps. How did you start your mapping career, and why did you even start? Do you remember?
I started like anybody else. I opened up the editor and I tried to do some maps, and it was horrible, and I closed the editor and I kept playing TrackMania. But, you just need to get used to it until you know the place of every block on the kind of selection thing. But yeah, when I started doing some, what can I say, correct tech maps, yeah, I remember my first map, STC 6 or 7 on TMNF. It was Codex. It was my first competition map, and it all started there. Just seeing people playing my map, I was really happy, and I just kept doing it. And I think people like the map, so I got a good now.
But are you a creative person in real life, or is it just in TrackMania that you sort of let your creativity go loose and test out in maps?
I'd say it's only in TrackMania because I'm horrible at art in general. Drawing, I'm really, really bad. But yeah, TrackMania, I don't know. I feel I'm original in my maps, and yeah, I'm having a good time building. It's always fun.
I tried to build some maps, but eventually I stopped at like 25 seconds because then I had to use like 2 months to somewhat get the lines because I'm not a good driver. But do you think that being a good driver is necessary to be a good mapper, or is it possible to somewhat be a medium player and still build good maps?
Well, you can be a medium player and build really good competition maps. Of course, the fact that I am a good driver, it helps because I know how to take the curves, and you know, I know how to play risky and stuff. So I can test different lines and know if it's good or not, if you have too much speed or. But yeah, like okay, I think. No offense to Wormy. Wormy is a great player, but he's a sick mapper, and he's not the best of the world. So yeah, he's mapping some really cool stuff over TMNF and TM2 all the time.
Yeah, some people might have a hard time making a difference of different tech maps, but is there a way to describe your style compared to other tech styles? Is there something that stands out from the style you build compared to, let's say, Wormy, MD Pointer, and so on?
I think my style is kind of a hybrid in between the old ESL type maps and like today's tech that is. Well, I don't even know how to qualify today's tech. It's different for sure, but I prefer the style that it was in 2007, 2008 ESL.
So old school, yeah.
Yeah, old school feeling and some pretty new stuff as well. But I'm trying to implement a lot of things in my maps to be the most original possible. So yeah.
And if you look outside of yourself, who would you say is the best mapper in TrackMania and sort of the guy you look to get motivation, maybe get inspiration?
The best mapper.
Is it even possible to crown a best mapper, or is it so subjective?
I don't think we can say anyone is the best mapper, but I don't know if you know the guy on. It's Simo 900.
Yeah, on TMX.
Yeah, on TMX. He's doing some really crazy stuff. RPG, press forwards, name it, like anything. He's doing some really awesome tracks. So I think this kind of creativity stands out above anyone else, in my opinion. But in case of tournament mapping, it's another thing. I don't think Simo can build a good tournament map. So I'd say Wormy. Wormy is pretty solid. Wormy would be my guess.
Yeah. And talking about TMX, are you participating in the all-round competition ARC? Is that the correct one, right?
Yeah, ARC. I'm currently in the last round. So if people don't know what it is, just a competition and TMX for TMNF. Basically, it's 6 maps that are given in a lapse of like 30 days or 20 days, and you need to do the best time possible on the maps. So there's RPG, dirt, full speed, mini full speed, speed tech, and tech. So yeah, it's only the best all-round drivers can make it to the final 3.
Yeah, it's like a good names left there: Kari and Muda, yourself. Who else is
Yeah,
left in the last round?
Ari is really impressing me right now.
Hmm.
He's doing sick. He's a really sick full speed player, and he's better than I thought in tech and speed tech. So
who's the favorite to win it?
I'd say Muda is probably the favorite, but Karian is gonna win tech and speed tech for sure. He always does. I think he won every tech maps from the beginning of the competition right now. So yeah.
But the event is currently taking place in TrackMania Nations Forever. But are you in favor of moving the event into TrackMania 2, or do you think that this event should stay in TrackMania Nations Forever?
I think it should stay in TMNF because like the game is quite different than TM2. As strange as it might sound, but it got a different feeling to it, and I like playing them both. But I like TMNF more casually, and I think it's a casual competition and not a professional competition. It's more like to see who's the best all-round driver. It's yeah.
Do you get some sort of nostalgic feeling when you go back to TMNF, and that's maybe why you sort of like it more casually compared to TM2 where it's more full try?
I think it might be the case because it's where I grew as a player there. So it's all I put all the hours at TMNF. So it's the game that I fell in love with. And I'm not saying TM2 is bad. I like the game as well. It's even there's no bugs. It's a miracle. I didn't think that I would see this day happening. So, but yeah, the nostalgic feeling is really present when I play TMNF.
So you are in favor of then having both communities active and just yeah.
I don't think there should be any wars or arguments for just play the game that you enjoy playing, and that's it.
Exactly. So if you are to look into the future, how long does Wally stay in TrackMania, and how does you view the future in TrackMania? Is the game moving forward?
Well, I think the game is moving forward for sure. For me, I don't think I see myself playing another 10 years. I'll be 34. I need to step back at a certain point and just start my life. Don't know what's going to happen with me, but I go with the flow, and right now I can play some TM, so I do. That's it.
Is there any topics that you want to highlight in your TrackMania career? Maybe topics that you find interesting in TrackMania overall? Something that you haven't talked about, maybe?
Let me think about it, because
it's a long career, no?
Yeah, it's. I did a lot of competition. I'd say one of the best moments of my career online was the STC final, the semi-final at least, where we beat RTA. Real them all beat Acer in semi-finals to go to the finals against the Dignitas.
Oh.
When we beat Acer, the community was shook. Like everybody was like, "Oh, okay, this team it's really strong, really looking good," and it was a great feeling. I was so proud of my team, even though I didn't play the match, but I played the final.
Yeah.
The fact that we made it through as a contender and not really, as an underdog.
What kind of players was it playing in Acer back then, for people who was listening? What kind of lineup did Team Acer have?
It was something like Frostbuild, JWH, Wells, Tamarillo.
So pretty stacked one.
Beppo, yeah, it was like a lot of good players. Sorry if I forgot some, but they were all impressive, and I didn't see my team win against them, but we did, and it was a great time.
Yeah, that's always the best when you go into a match and you have everything to win, and then you end up winning it.
Yeah, when people don't think you're gonna win and you win, it's a great feeling.
So that's gonna be the story for ZrT Cup 2019 as well. People might not think that you are gonna win it, but you go to France and then wins it, right?
Just imagine. It would be crazy.
Just imagine, yeah. Yeah, at least personally, I hope that you qualify. I'm probably going to be there to interview people. Let's have some sort of winner interview there, right?
Yeah, of course. The winner interview will be with me.
In front of 6,000 people or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting bigger and bigger for every year, ZrT Cup.
Yeah, I'm really happy about this. It's just giving visibility to the game, and it's really nice.
It's crazy. But do you have any final words for some people who has helped your TrackMania career, some fans? Is there any final words before we close it?
Yeah, of course. Carl Jr. has been a big inspiration for me. He is a great friend, a true friend. He always keeps pushing me, and I'm like in his shadow constantly, but he's always one step there to have fun with me, and we see each other in real life, and we talk TrackMania. Sometimes we don't. So yeah, Carl Jr. I'm really happy to have him.
Yeah,
but
talking about Carl Jr., I remember I saw this Tamarillo interview from 2013 or something. Tamarillo said, "Okay, your father is here. He's probably your biggest fan." Carl Jr. said, "No, my biggest fan is Wally."
Yeah.
You have some sort of Facebook picture of Carl Jr. as your profile picture or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was at his first ESWC final. I was here at my desk cheering for him like a madman. I was so happy for him when it was. I couldn't believe that a guy from the same place as me was there at the World Championship doing so good. So yeah. But yeah.
Is there anyone else in your TrackMania career besides this Carl Jr. that always comes up?
Well, I don't have anyone that. It was really separate time. So I had some great time with the RTA guys. If any of them is listening today, hello to you guys. But I want to thank you as well, NWD, for this interview.
Of course, man.
NMD, sorry.
Norwegian map designer here, right?
Yeah. We need more people like you, man. Like just doing interview and stuff. I think it's really the community miss people like you, and I'm really grateful to have somebody like you that covers events and can see some vlogs and live footage. It's really interesting, and yeah.
And I think TrackMania needs more people like you, right?
Oh, maybe.
I think that's
there could only be one Wally, so.
But yeah, is there anything that you want to say before we close it, or are you happy about the podcast, how it went?
Yeah, I'm happy about the podcast, and of course, I want to thank people that supports me and encourage me all the time. So it's always fun playing and having people liking you and cheering for you.
And then I look forward to meeting you in France in the summer of 2019.
I look forward as well. It would be a sick moment. Having a beer or something would be.
Yeah. But thanks, man, thanks for stepping up, and good luck in the upcoming events. And as I said, hope to see you in real life as well.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me. And it was a great time doing this interview.
Bye, guys.
See ya.